St Nicholas Church, Burton in Wirral, serves a parish of over 1,040 people in the villages of Burton and Puddington. St Nicholas's is an ancient church building that was first founded in 1086. After falling into a state of disrepair, the church was rebuilt in 1380 and was extensively refurbished again 170 years later. Eventually, it was rebuilt in 1721 and is largely the church we see today. Renovation, modification and upgrading are certainly no strangers to this beautiful church building. The congregation and leadership of our church have been asking the question, how can we be a church for today and also a church for the future? In search of a way to answer this question, we asked people within the parish and the local community for their opinions. We have distributed questionnaires and held an open meeting. These have gleaned a lot of useful information about what people would like our future church community to be. Taking the feedback from these forums, the Church Council spent considerable time analysing and finally distilling these thoughts into a vision for the future of the church. The vision is that St Nicholas Church should be a growing, thriving church, and a church that meets the needs of a greater cross-section of our community, including children and young families. So, you may ask, how are we going to achieve these goals? Well, 3 specific objectives for the first year were identified, and one of the objectives was to look at the possibilities of increasing the flexibility and extending the size of the church building. Upgrading the church building would provide more appropriate facilities for all worshippers and church-affiliated groups. A small group of parishioners have been looking at ways in which other parishes have adapted their church building to continue to serve its present congregation and also to equip the building for the future. The group have set out the broad objectives that have come from the consultations thus far. We as a parish would like to make the church building a building that is accessible for all. A church building which is more central to the life of the parish, and a building that is a focus for Christian youth activities within the village. In addition, we would like a building that won't put off young families attending church services, and that will attract those who are currently on the periphery of church into this beautiful building. We would like a church building that is suitable for a wider range of church and community activities. And finally, all of this should be achieved within an environment that nurtures the relationship with and fulfills the will of God. Our aim is to retain the architectural beauty and character of the church, whilst preparing the church building for future generations. It is important to stress that no changes will take place without full consultation with and support of the whole church family at Burton and Puddington. As a church family, we will also pray and spend time waiting on God, listening for His decision. So, if the parish decides to extend the building, what would it look like? And is it possible? We can learn a lot from other churches. This is St Patrick's Church in the Lake District, dating back to 1853 and designed by the most successful of Victorian architects, Anthony Slevin. As you might expect, any extension to this church had to be incredibly sympathetic. The new extension, built in 1995, is on the right of your picture. As you can see, it blends in seamlessly. This newly created space is linked directly to the main church building. When it is not being used as a small chapel, it can be utilised for small group meetings, a crèche, a Sunday school, or simply a lovely space to meet in. In order to build this extension, some of the graves were covered. A plaque was incorporated into the design in order to commemorate those people. By using the right architects and building expertise, these lovely buildings can be given a whole new lease of life. At St. Peter's Church, Heswall, they built a brand new hall. However, the new hall had to fit in with the traditional sandstone look of the village. Everyone is very pleased with the result. While thinking about adapting the church, it is good to think about including the more practical things. For example, would it be useful to have a small, dedicated area for the preparation of light refreshments to be served after church services and other events that require hospitality? So, now it's over to you. What would you like to see included? How would you like to see this charming church building prepared for future generations? The church is a beautiful building. With sympathetic upgrading, it is a space that can bring joy and service to both God and the community for many years to come.